Hello and welcome to the Comic Book Communicast, the official podcast of the Google Plus comic book community. This is issue number 34 for the week of May 7th, 2014. I'm Justin Beeson, and I'm joined by my co-hosts Paul Christopher,
Good evening, everybody.
Sarah Evans,
Hey.
and Aaron Travis. Every
Hello.
episode... Oh, sorry. Every episode, each of us talks about the comic that was at the top of our read pile for the week, and later we'll talk about some news. And this week, we're going to talk a little bit about stuff we picked up on pre-comic book day as well. And I'd also just like to mention that if you haven't checked out our other show issues, last Saturday, we were all in the same place, minus Aaron, because he was hungover.
Abducted by aliens.
That too. But the rest of us, plus Michelle, were all in the same place and did a couch episode. It was a lot of fun. So check it out if you can. So let's get into the comics. Paul, what was your pick for the week?
Okay, so my pick for the week is a quiet little book called Alex and Ada. It's from Jonathan Luna and Sarah Vaughn. Jonathan Luna did he did a couple other books that I really liked that I was actually reading earlier. But the so the story about it is it's not action packed. It's not adventure. It's a very quiet drama. It's about these people. And so Alex is a lonely guy with a very rich grandmother, and she buys him this female android named Ada, and due to a horrible incident earlier, like before the comic, sentient AIs have been made illegal because one android went crazy and slaughtered a bunch of people. So sentient AIs are now illegal. So you have these androids that are used for different varying purposes, up to and including sex, but they're not sentient. But there's so Alex originally doesn't want one, but his grandmother gets him one anyway, and he accidentally turns it on, and he kind of starts getting interested in her, but he's frustrated by the fact that she's nothing really more than like an automaton, a very intelligent automaton, but can't make decisions for herself. So he goes on the internet and he finds this private web forum, basically of people who have basically hacked their androids, because it turns out that the sentience is still there, but it's been locked away, because instead of rewriting all the code, they just locked away the sentience. And it can be like your phone. The androids can be rooted, but if you get discovered, first of all, it's very difficult to do. And then if you are discovered having done that, then there's legal ramifications for you, and then they can take away the android, and now you have basically this living being, which is like hauled off and maybe deactivated or whatnot. So it's very tricky. So he actually goes through, and now Ada has sentience, and this issue is like basically her first issue now after she's regained her sentience, and they are doing like different things to try and see now what she actually likes and what she doesn't like, and she's going through and she's like touching everything and feeling everything. And that's what I'm saying. It's like there's no lasers, there's no explosions, but it's a really sweet book about these two people, and they're interesting enough characters that I enjoy spending time with them every month. Saga is another example, except for there's a lot more going on with Saga, obviously, but I keep coming back to Saga because of the characters. The rest of it is cool too. So if you like good character studies, then you'll probably enjoy this book.
Cool. Have either of the other two checked it out? I read the first issue and it was all right, but it wasn't enough to keep me reading.
It sounds really good, actually. I'm not pulling it right now, but that's actually one of my major, like, guilty pleasure plot lines that mostly you can only get in fanfic or something, because it's kind of slow, but I love the whole, hi, you're new to our culture, or you're a just activated machinery thing. Let me show you around and introduce you to the world, and I will read about that all day, so I need to check that out.
Absolutely.
It sounds really Japanese. It's like kind of like what would have happened
Don't say it,
before
don't
like
say
Ghost
it.
in the Shell,
Chobits.
Innocence. Yeah, Chobits. That was the one I was thinking of. I'm like, is it
Oh,
something blue? Is
God.
it La Blue Girl? No, it's
What
Chobits.
a
It's very
hot
similar to
mess.
Yeah,
Chobits.
it was like Chobits without the fan service.
Without the hero, without the main character being hailed as a fucking hero for not sticking his dick in a particular orifice.
That too.
Yeah. It actually reminds it's like actually very reminiscent. It's like how they treated the Tachikoma in the Ghost in the Shell series. If you married that with how they dealt with the sex dolls in Ghost in the Shell Innocence, it sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
All right. So that's Alex and Ada number 6. Sarah, what was your pick for the week?
My pick this week was Rat Queens, issue 6. And this issue was pretty cool. It was kind of domestic because we just got off a big story arc and we're about to start in with another big one. And it's directly involving Sawyer, the very dashing captain of the guard. And sometimes it's complicated hookup, etc. Partner of Hannah's. And it's looking pretty good. The series has been great so far, so I don't know what to say. It continues to be interesting and hilarious, and Gary continues to be punched in the face. Yeah, we're getting more into Dee's past as a character. She's a character that's been kind of overlooked for a while, and I was kind of touchy about that for a few issues because I was like, we know about all of the backstories and personal interests and skill sets and everything of all the characters except the black girl. Why is this? And then just last issue it started getting more into her backstory and her personality as kind of a wallflower who ran away from home, and someone from her past shows up in this issue just like Violet's brother showed up in a previous issue, and we got a hint as to Hannah's past as the black-eyed freak-out ultra-powerful, god-moded magical thing she pulled off to save the day a few issues ago happens to be because she's the children of necromancers, so maybe we'll get more into all of their backstories, and that'll kind of contribute to driving the plot forward. I'm fine with the setup right now because it just got off the ground, the kind of D&D style, oh, we just pulled something off and we came into some money, and now this guy in charge is offering us more money to do a similar task, which is ridding the town of pests. But I feel like with the introduction of the new mysterious big bad guy who has a big grudge against Sawyer in particular for something that happened to the villain's wife that he had to do with, and it looks like that's what the next story arc is going to be all about. Looks to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, this comic is amazing. Should also mention that this number 6 is a really good jumping on point. Obviously, it's like a big story, but it seems like he's going to be separating the story because I think they kind of established where they are pretty good, and then introduce you to what they're going to be doing next. And this comic is hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there are actually times when I laugh out loud at it. And also to mention that the writers, I don't know how to say his name, but Curtis Weeb?
Oh,
Weebe,
sorry.
maybe? And and the art is Rock Upchurch. Weeb. He also writes Peter Ponder.
Damn, that is a porn name.
Fast, I think.
Yeah.
His other title.
Yeah, fans are fast. Or something like that.
Awesome. Yeah. Great comic.
Yeah, so
everybody should
Rat Queens number 1.
Go for it, Paul.
We
What
we
was
got a
that?
little lag on there.
Oh.
Rat Queens #1 was part of Image Comics #1 giveaway on Comixology, so I picked that up along with almost 100 other titles. So hopefully you guys out there, if you're not already reading Rat Queens, you took advantage of that giveaway and picked it up like me, and can check it out.
I mean, the first trade
Definitely.
just
And
came out as well, so you can get the entire first arc in the same volume. So if you're going to start pulling, like Justin said, now's a good time, and you can easily stock up on the entire series up to this point, which is only 5. So.
yeah, the first trade's only $10, I think. It's cheap. Image is pretty good
Mhm.
about like they put out trades real fast and they're definitely reasonably priced.
Almost like they want our money.
Almost. Yeah, this is a definite like everybody should be reading this. It's great. All right, Aaron, what was your comic this week?
This week, I have no clue why the hell I chose this. Well, I do know why I chose it, but I chose WWE Superstars #4. The reason why I chose this was because it was written by Mick Foley, and Mick Foley is he's no matter what you feel about wrestling, he's pretty cool, and he is a really good writer. Um, and I wanted to see how he would handle a comic book about wrestling, and it's a comic book about wrestling. Um, that is absolutely true. It's actually kind of funny because the story of this comic book is um, wrestler guy is accused of stealing $10 million from Vince McMahon, and he didn't do it. So other wrestler guy like tries to help him out or something. So fast forward a bunch of wrestling stuff. Um, they find out that this third wrestler guy actually did it, and the two other wrestler guys, one of them ends up being a bad guy because I guess he's a bad guy in like wrestling life, and the other guy. It would probably help people that knew wrestling for me to tell you the names, but I mean it really sucks that I don't know the names, so I can't help you out. But so you have basically the anti-hero, the anarchistic anti-hero. That's CM Punk. I know that much. That's the only one that I know. Then you have like the ex-military heroes type, and then you have like the snot-nosed kid hero, and they basically live up to their wrestling, um, their wrestling types, but in kind of a Gotham kind of city, where the I don't know, the ex-military wrestler is kind of like Batman, except for he doesn't wear his shirt and he pile drives people a lot.
I'd read that issue of Batman.
No. He didn't get the backbreaker done on him. He does it on other people. But The Undertaker is in it, so I know who he is. Rey Mysterio is in it, and supposedly they have Mick Foley writes for himself, and Kane is in it, but I don't know. I didn't see him in it. Not that I know of, but the art really sucked, so who knows. The art on this was like, you remember when you were a kid and you'd go to the dentist's office and Colgate would have like the Spider-Man comics?
Yep.
You ever have those? Yeah.
Yep.
The art's like it's up there with that. It's up there with like the free comics that are public service announcement comics, or like the freaking Hostess cartoons, Hostess strips and comic books.
Oh, those were cute, though.
Yeah, these are pretty cute too, except for the fact that it's pro wrestlers. Like the issue
Okay.
previous to this, ex-military wrestler, somehow ended up. I mean, the storyline moves really fast because they try and throw as many names in it as possible, but they all look the same. Like all wrestlers nowadays all look the same. You used to have like the Ultimate Warrior. You knew who he was from a mile away because of his face paint. You knew, Randy Macho Man Savage. You knew Andre the Giant. But nowadays, if this comic book teaches us anything, all wrestlers look the same. But so he ends up like getting lost in the boonies. They're in like California, but somehow they end up getting lost in like the wilds of Tennessee, and he gets stuck with this like, or not, this like crazy hillbilly, cannibalistic hillbilly
Of course.
family, and one of them is like wearing a sheep mask the entire time, and I guess these are actually pro wrestlers. So yeah, it was a comic book.
Okay.
Who put it? Like what? Who published it?
Crap. I remembered who it was, but I forgot. Paper Cuts. Paper Cuts. Paper Cuts
Okay.
also,
Yeah,
obviously they
they
do
put
the
out like old
Smurfs.
bikes and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they put like the
They put out
Smurfs
like Power Rangers comics too, I think.
Oh, they also put out the Annoying Orange comic book.
Oh.
Yeah, so, yeah, there you go. And Garfield.
All right. That was
So, yeah.
WWE Superstars.
WWE Superstars. Yes. If you like WWE and you like comics, have fun.
All right. So my comic was Cyclops #1. This is a new ongoing from Marvel. It spins out of the events of the all-new X-Men Guardians of the Galaxy crossover, the trial of Jean Grey. So basically what happens, the current X-Men, if people know, the original X-Men here from the past, and by the Shi'ar, and then they escaped or whatever. And young Cyclops decided he doesn't want to hang around with everybody because, like, he knows that him and Jean eventually get married, and he knows everything that happens, and he's in their teenagers, so he just wants to get away. So he decides to go ship out with the Starjammers and go hang out with his dad out in space. So this comic, it's written by Greg Rucka, art by Russell Dauterman, and colors by Chris Sotomayor. And it's basically a space adventure, and it was really good. They're out in space, they get attacked by a Badoon ship, and they take it out, and then Corsair and Cyclops decide to go on like a space road trip. So I assume that the series is just going to be them cruising around, getting into trouble. And it was just kind of like a good, lighthearted adventure story. A lot of action, a lot of little quips between them. Greg Rucka, he's a great writer. I'm a real big fan of his, and he seems to have a good handle on these characters. The art, the pencils and ink weren't anything special, just kind of standard. The coloring was really good though. He uses a lot of like oversaturated, contrasting colors for a lot of the cosmic stuff. It's really good. So yeah, I'll probably follow this at least. I'm not completely hooked yet, but it's enough to have me pull the next few issues.
So, like, are the old X-Men ever going back to their own time? I mean,
Probably not for the foreseeable future, I would guess.
seriously, if they don't go back to their own time, they should have some sort of crisis where, like, the current X-Men are getting ready to, like, their current present-day counterparts are, like, going to disappear out of the timeline because, like,
Yeah.
all those events never existed anymore. And then, like, Scott's, like, off screwing around with his dad, who is apparently another terrible comic book parent, because where the hell has he been? He's been off hanging out with the Starjammers.
Well, I think like by the time I mean I'm not real sure on it, but like by the time that Cyclops figured out he had a dad and they were already doing their separate things, and Scott had his own baggage by then, so didn't want to put the effort in. This time though, it's 16-year-old Scott, and he's like, oh yeah, I want a dad. So he's real eager to build that relationship.
Would be
But
interesting. What I'd like to see is Cable hanging out with 16-year-old Scott. It'd be interesting, like
He hangs out with enough 16-year-olds. Why not?
It's like Cable like raising his own father. That would be interesting. Like, or Cable, Scott, and what do you call it? Scott's dad, Corsair. all hanging out together, family reunion, guy trip. That would be a nice one.
Most awkward ever.
Yeah.
Who
Cable's
knows?
the
It
oldest of
could
all of
happen.
them.
I mean, the series kind of just seems like they're gonna have fun with it. I mean, it should. It'd be funny.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of interesting because
If
theoretically, you said that Jean Grey was being put on trial by not by the Shi'ar, by someone else. You said it was the Shi'ar?
no, by the
Yeah.
Shi'ar.
Okay, so
Yeah. The Shi'ar-
theoretically,
basically, the Shi'ar.
theoretically we have.
The Shi'ar. Okay, so the Shi'ar just came and said, "Hey, you're Jean Grey. We know it was trial because somebody needs to pay, and that didn't go well." So anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Sarah.
Well, I was just going to say that theoretically you have Cyclops' father coming into contact with Shi'ar space. So theoretically, I mean, okay, so in the 90s, the character Adam X apparently was originally intended to be like a long-lost Summers brother and to be the offspring of Daken and Kate Summers and taken away and raised on a farming planet. And she was the only human in Shi'ar space at that time, so it was heavily implied that it was Kate Summers who was his mother. But if this is happening, then that could fuck with the timeline or with the creator's intentions, but it could still theoretically happen, but through Cyclops' father. Sorry, just kind of thinking out loud about how this character could be confirmed.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know that they probably won't get into it because from what I've like experienced and read with Brian Michael Bendis is that when it comes to like classic continuity, he doesn't always adhere to everything and anything and all the little minute details. He easily writes some stuff off, but then kind of references other stuff. And I'm assuming that Bendis is kind of in control of what's going on really with the X-Men universe. So that was Cyclops #1. Good book, but probably not much for people that aren't already picking up, X-Men books, or aren't like, and I assume that aren't like just Cyclops fans that aren't also picking up X-Men books. But I liked it. So, Paul, what other books did you pull this week?
Yeah, I got Aphrodite 9, number 10. And I was in for a really horrible shock at the end of this because there's apparently issue 11 is the end of the series. It's like it was never billed as like a mini series or a limited series in any way, shape, or form. I think that this has got plenty of story to tell, but maybe they're going to like go now to like a volume 3, or maybe they're going to change the title and start from number 1 again. I don't know. I'm hoping so because there's just like they've completely opened up the world now, and there's like a lot of story, something to be told, and there's no way they're going to tell it in one more issue. So we'll see what happens, but I really like this book, so I want to see it, and this character, and I want to see it keep on. Aquaman and the Others, issue number 2. I'm going to give this book to the end of this first arc before I make up my mind, but I'm really, it's decent, it's good, but it's not good enough to where I'm gonna spend an extra like $4 on it every month. It's just like, Batman Eternal number 5. Again, this just continues to get better and better and better. So I'm very happy with the way this is going. Let's see, Batman Superman number 10. This was a filler issue. You could totally skip it, except for apparently they're going to call back to some of the events in this later on because there's a lot of like, secret stuff happens that's revealed at the very end. But otherwise, it was Superman and the Atom, though he doesn't name himself the Atom until the end of the comic. They shrink down and go into Batman's brain because there is a city in there. Yes. Yes. It's, yeah. Anyway, so, yeah, it's pretty much a throwaway issue. Caliban #2. I'm really digging this book. I see movie in here. Movie possibilities or TV show possibilities, but I'm really digging where they're going with it so far. So, Cyberforce #9. You should totally be reading. If you're reading Aphrodite 9, you should be reading Cyberforce, the new ones, because they're all part of the same timeline. It's the past and the future of the same story. Detective Comics #31. Good book. Fatale issue #22. I feel like the monster, like if you've ever read Grover, the monster at the end of the book, and he's like, he doesn't want you to turn the pages because he doesn't want to get to the end of the book, and that's kind of how I feel. It's like I can't stop turning pages, but I don't want to get to the end of this story because it's such a great title, and I'm sorry to see it go.
How many issues are left?
2.
Ooh.
2 left, man. 2 left.
But then we get the next thing from Brubaker and
yeah, and I'm excited about that. But freaking look at like Bendis and Rucka. I mean, they're working on like 30 titles each. You telling me Brubaker can't do Fatale and this new thing? Come on. I got Revival issue #20. This continues to still be better than Resurrection on television. And Suicide Risk #13. This book, like, they did such a good job with, like, it starts out, you're thinking, like, oh, I know what this is about, and it's this very close, tight idea of story and all this, and then over the last, like, 3 issues, they went, and it's like, no, everything you thought this story was about, this book was about, completely wrong. Absolutely wrong. And it's so awesome. Again, this is another one where they've just opened up the world on a huge scale, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with this. And last but not least, I got The Wake #8. Only 2 left in this one, too. Man, this is such a good book. It's such a good book. We've been telling you this from issue #1. It's a great book. You should go read it. Definitely, or like wait for the when they eventually get like the whole thing collected. But it's such a great book. This one needs to be like its own series as well. Don't do it a movie. It'd be too short, but yeah, TV series.
I don't think a movie could contain that
Exactly.
comic.
No, I'm looking at you, HBO. I'm looking at you.
It would be so hard to do it well. I think it's just the scope is way too big.
Yeah. Well, they just have to get Kevin Costner to do it because he can do it right.
God. No. All right. Sarah, did you pull the books this week?
Yeah, I think... Oh, I'm unmuted now? Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I think I've figured out my problem with having a lot of weeks where I don't have anything in my box, despite the fact that I'm pulling a lot of things. All of my comics must arrive on the same 2 weeks per month because this was pretty massive this week. Well, I finally got my hands on Lumberjanes #1, even though it didn't come out this week. It finally came in for me, and it was pretty entertaining. I like it. I think they were trying to make it a little too adventure-timey just for marketing purposes, but I like the premise, and I'm going to keep reading it. The artist is a personal favorite, following her on the internet anyway. Hinterkind came in. It's probably the one book that I haven't gone through yet. Like, even She-Hulk I've flipped through a little bit just to kind of brief myself on, but I'm kind of burning out on Hinterkind. I need him to speed things up. She-Hulk, like I said, was pretty good this week too. Art continues interesting and retro, and she wraps up another case and starts on a new one. Also, Matt Murdock makes a cameo, so that was interesting. And I know that a lot of people have said, hey, she's starting her legal practice. We need to get some kind of crossover with Daredevil or get him on board somehow. But as he's been disbarred in the Marvel Universe, apparently that's kind of hard to do, but he definitely shows up in this one. Yeah. The Movement had its last issue this week, and it's really unfortunate because I felt like it had been dragging on for a long time, but as of just last issue, they kind of started to get more in-depth on a couple of characters, and I kind of wanted to know more. But what they did, instead of just kind of leaving it hanging, like with the team in limbo with their plot line and everything, like Fearless Defenders did, the movement just kind of tried to wrap up pretty quickly. I can see how she wanted to tie up those loose ends and kind of drive home, what she was trying to do with this series. One of her characters gives some exposition in the form of a monologue, like what she was trying to do when she put together this team to just be purely powered by idealism and kind of, work have the people in authority or with power working for the people who needed them instead of making the people who needed them work for them. And I thought it was pretty neat. It was a sweet wrap-up. Everybody who was dating someone or not dating someone got their issues resolved, and it was just kind of end-of-series issue E, which fits, I guess. So it's 12 volumes total. I guess there's going to be 2 trades, and that seems about right for me for what they were trying to do with this book. Just kind of, it's probably going to be one of those series where its fans are going to be advocating it, and it'll be pretty easy to pick up if you're curious. Red Sonja, number 9, came out. Another Gail Simone. Evidently, I have all of her issues coming out on the same week as well. But this series continues to be interesting. I was a little strange. Well, I was a little strange. What am I saying? It was a little strange because, well, it's great. She kind of keeps hitting it home that Sonja is bisexual, and that's interesting because, I mean, everything about this character, the way she's written her, has been really, really strong, really matter-of-fact, really empowering, and she crosses paths with a courtesan in this one. And they have a really sweet moment that is actually, Justin, I know you've said this in the past, that she kind of writes some of her characters in similar ways. The way she wrote these 2 women bonding was just very Gail Simone. I don't know, the things they were saying, the way they were relating to each other, like we could have been sisters and stuff like that. It was like, okay, so I've seen many, 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 many of her female characters connect in very similar ways, including with the movement wrapping up and the female lead on the team talking about how much she loved all of her friends. I was like, okay, so this all pretty much sounds the same when you have her characters waxing poetic about each other. It's all like, oh, I love these people to death, and yeah. But it was
I was going to ask if they exchanged recipes.
Actually not. It was she actually pointed it out that it was, well, one of the things that's gotten talked a lot about with her Red Sonja run is the costume, and the fact that she doesn't have her wearing the skimpy chainmail all the time. She's completely in chainmail in this issue because her gear got stolen, and she's like constantly complaining about having rusty saddle sores, and like she's so unhappy about not being able to wear real clothes, and she almost gets thrown out of this I'm not sure what else to call it, a brothel. Sorry, I was blanking for a second because they mistake her for someone who's coming looking for work. But no, it was a good issue, and 3 of a 6-part arc, I think. And besides that, yeah, Lumberjanes, Hennerkind, She-Hulk, The Movement, Red Sonja, and Rat Queens, like I previously said. My wife is also pulling She-Hulk, I learned when I went to get her pull box, and she has the new issue of Loki, Agent of Asgard, which I will read but have yet to get into. And apparently she's pulling Lumberjanes as well, so we're both pulling She-Hulk, we're both pulling Lumberjanes, and we've got to get our shit together because this is getting expensive. So that was my full box.
All right. Aaron, did you pull anything else this week?
There was actually a lot of stuff that looked really interesting. First off, the Final Plague trade, their first collection is out, and it's only $5. So if you haven't read that, it's $5. Get it. It's one of the better horror comic books out there. But yeah, there's actually a lot of stuff that came out this week that I went through, and I really actually just wanted to start reading. So like Black Dynamite. Number 2 of 4 came out. Image started one called Nailbiter. I guess it's the same concept as the really crappy horror movie, but it sounds a lot better than the horror movie. It's a story of like the family of serial killers. Um, then there was the Burning Orphanage, Reign of Terror, #1. Uh, I actually decided to pick up Red Sonja. And there's the Adventure Time. Adventure Time is the flip side. I didn't know that existed, but that just looked funny, so I had to just have to nab it. Have you read that one, Justin?
I read the first issue, but like it was all right.
It was all
The
right.
main
Okay, we'll see.
the main reason I read the Adventure Time comics is really like I mean I love Adventure Time, but it's Ryan North who writes the main series. The other
Okay.
minis, all the other mini series, limited series have been kind of like hit or miss for me.
Okay. I think the concept's hilarious, so I wanted to check it out. And it's at the end of the run, at the end of the story arc. So, if 5 is good, I'll go back and read the whole thing. And there's Super Ego #1, which looks really cool. It's from Magnet. And another one, Rule of War, or 68 Rule of War, that came out last month, and it looked really interesting, but I didn't nab it. So I nabbed the #2, and one that I've wanted to read, Anti-Hero, and also Discordia. And they came out with one. There's one called Archer and Co. that they're already up to issue 9, and I swear to God that came out like last month. Um, but yeah, that one looked really neat too. I haven't had a chance to read any of these, and I probably won't be able to read them until like the end of the weekend, early during the week. But yeah, lots of cool stuff.
Cool. So it was a pretty big week for me. Obviously, I can't read all of them because I don't have. I'm not at home. But the ones that are interesting me, Future's End, which just started. I really had little interest in this, besides the creators, because you have Jeff Lemire, Dan Jurgens, I'm drawing a blank now, and 2 other writers. But like, oh, Brian Azzarello, and then somebody else I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm not. I've decided I'm not going to collect this book.
I gave it a try. I'll give it, I think, one more issue. Because I actually liked the free comic book story, which we'll get to in a little bit. But this one, Batman Beyond shows up in the New 52 future, but then obviously his past, and he time traveled, but he went to the wrong spot to where the end is already happening. And he has to do something, and it's like another dystopian story, and there's just not a lot here.
Yeah, exactly.
So
DC's not getting me again. I'm sorry. They let me
and
down too often. I'm done.
And they really just made it seem like this isn't going to matter. You know that at the end of this year of doing this thing, they're going to have another big event. They're going to go back in time to the right thing and prevent it all from ever happening. Because there's no way that Superman and Wonder Woman are going to be bug robots in the future.
Yeah, and the other thing, too, is, they haven't even finished their last one. Forever Evil is still technically not even over yet, and now they're starting this one, #1. #2, this screw-up just confirms what I've said about Terry McGinnis, that's his name, right, Batman Beyond, being a crappy Batman, because Bruce would have shown up exactly the right time.
Well, no, okay,
when
so
he wanted to.
because Bruce was supposed to be the one that came back, but it was Terry that ends up coming back, and because they calibrated it for Bruce's body and weight and all that stuff, that's why Terry undershot it. So not his fault.
Uh-huh.
Anyways, so that one, Iron Fist, Living Weapon #2. The first issue was amazing. This is like a classic like kung fu action movie. The art and storytelling is amazing because it's all done by one person. Read this book; it's great, and it stands by itself. So it's one that you can pick up without needing much.
Which one was that?
Iron Fist #2.
By
Iron Fist,
Care
okay,
Andrews.
Yeah, Iron Fist is
really good.
He's pretty badass.
Original Sin proper starts up this week, so looking forward to seeing what that's gonna do. The Wake, and then The Woods, which is a new creator owned from James Tynion IV, who's he's on Batman. He's done the Eighth Seal for Thrillbent. So this one, it's on Boom Studios. It's all right. Basically, the premise is you have a high school, and it mysteriously the whole high school gets transported somewhere, and this somewhere has a big woods. And so the end of the book is them going off to unexplore, and it seems like he's kind of going for like the Lost type thing, where there's a bunch of mysteries, and it feels a little derivative. Mainly because Morning Glories is doing almost the same thing, but a lot better. There's just a lot more depth to Morning Glories than this one. This one seems like it's going for maybe a wider audience, a little simpler. That's fine, but if Morning Glories wasn't such a big book right now and so good, um, it'd probably be a little different. I haven't decided whether because that's the other thing is he writes really good like horror stuff, and so I'm hoping that will come into it a little bit. There's a tiny bit like there's some mysterious creatures that came in, and brings a little bit more of what I know he can do to the next issues. I may follow it. Yeah, so those were my standout issues for this week. So, not a huge news week, but we did get one pretty big piece of news, and that is that Gotham has officially been picked up for at least a season. And along with that announcement, we got the first official trailer for the series. Paul, I know you were super enthusiastic, so what did you think about it?
I'm officially excited about this show. I am officially excited about this show. It looks like it's going to be really good. I mean, trailers can be deceiving, but based on the trailer, I've gone from cautiously optimistic to why hasn't this show started yet? I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing what they do with this, because I think I'm finally going to get the badass Gordon I've been asking for.
Nice. Yeah, I'm excited. I actually had like a couple friends that are non comic people ask me about it. Like, did you hear about that Gotham show?
Yep.
They were asking me questions about it. Yeah. So it looks like they're at least doing their job of creating some buzz. I'm really looking for. Have they said when it's going to premiere or anything?
Not that I've seen, no.
It probably won't be till like next fall or something.
Yeah, exactly.
So is it going to be like Shield, or is it going to be just like a crime procedural in?
It looks like
Gotham?
neither. It looks like it's going to be pretty like more serious. Like when you say procedural, I think like CSI and freaking NCIS,
Yeah.
where it's just like villain. This one, from the trailer, it looks like it's going to be a little bit more involved than just like villain of the week. It's going to be like very much more serialized. Like
Okay.
over like season long plot arc type things.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and hopefully. Oh, go ahead, sir.
No, sorry, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, hopefully they take some cues at least from Gotham Central, which, by the way, just got released on Comixology in like trades. They put all like the actual. They've had the single issues, but now you can get the volumes for a lot cheaper.
Yep.
So now's the time to probably catch up on that.
One thing that I'm a little concerned about with this show is the timeline, which I know DC is already not great at keeping that organized. Last month, John Cunningham from DC Comics, and I don't know in out of context who this guy is, other than that the article I read mentioned him as confirming that we are going to see Renee Montoya in Gotham Central. No casting has been released for this yet, but if they're also going to be getting into the origin stories of Batman villains, I'm not exactly sure how they're going to be pulling all of this off unless it's entirely children. Because, I mean, yeah, there's several people in the Batman cast who would conceivably be middle-aged or around that age or slightly older compared to Bruce Wayne when he first starts being Batman, but you've got Catwoman and Poison Ivy who are fairly around the same age as him, and I mean, I'll watch it. I mean, if it's stories about kids, sure. It's probably going to be stories about horrible things happening to these kids that will make their lives turn out the way that they did. But now we've got Renee Montoya. Well, not now, but we've got Renee Montoya hinted as being in the series, and I'm like, okay, is she going to be an adult, or is she going to be a child? And what does this mean for Kate Kane, if they even pay attention to that, because they were a thing? And is she going to be a cop, or is she going to be younger? Is this going to be another origin story? And so I'm just kind of confused as to how they're going to have people age in this show and still get in all of the characters that they want to use.
Riddler and Penguin are already adults.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it'll be its own thing, kind of like, you know, how Smallville had Lex Luthor. You can't think of the timeline of this show in comparison to what's currently canon.
Yeah.
Gotta be its own thing.
All right.
So, Aaron, anything else to add?
I don't know. I'll watch it. I mean, it'll probably be on Hulu, so I'll probably watch it. You know, and you know, I mean, if it's a good, even if it's just some dumb good procedural, it's probably going to be decent. So, and if it's not, it's not. Whatever. I won't be heartbroken.
Cool. So, the other thing that happened, well, this week was actually, I guess it was kind of last week, but it didn't hit till after it came out. Last week they had Vertigo release like a quarterly anthology series that they're doing, and we get more of DC's messing with things. Joe Keating had one of the stories and basically posted on his blog that the story that made it to print was not what he wrote. But he was kind of cryptic about it. He's like, they changed the ending, but then he didn't say what it was or what happened, or, you know, he just basically said the editorial did it. Did you guys read about that at all?
No.
Kind of like Arkham Asylum, where if you get the trade, Grant Morrison's his script versus the edited script kind of a thing.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Oh yeah, the trade that I have, it's got like what 15 pages where he sits there and analyzes the he put his script and then or he put his script with the edits or something along those lines, and he was kind of bitter.
Yeah, I mean Joe Keating did not sound happy about it, and it's a real bummer because the whole thing that they're doing, like, because it's called Vertigo Quarterly CMYK, so they're using like the old print methods and coloring and stuff in them, and kind of doing a theme. So it's like a cool compilation, and to kind of be tainted by that a little bit sucks. And Vertigo, for the most part has steered clear of the DC's editorial messing, but looks like it's kind of got in there, which sucks.
He didn't even say like why it was. He just said that they changed it. And he was pissed about it.
Yep.
It probably doesn't want to rock the boat too much.
Yeah. He's making.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he was very quiet about it. Not, he just said he just basically said, this is not the story I wrote. I'm not gonna say good or bad or whatever. I just want to let people know that that's what happened.
Not it.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, that was pretty much it as far as I saw for this week. So last week was Free Comic Book Day. We went down to Third Eye Comics in Annapolis and picked up some books, met some creators. Did you guys get a chance to read your comics?
I have not, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Sarah, what did you think?
You had time to prepare. No, I may be the last person in the universe on the bandwagon for this, so Paul, you can turn right around and give me crap about it. But Saga issues 1 and 2. Michelle picked up at Free Comic Book Day, and they're freaking amazing. Just in case there's somebody out here watching this Communicast who just like woke up from a coma and is looking for a good comic to pull and does not already know about Saga because they were in a coma.
Trades 1 and 2.
Sorry?
Was it issues number 1 and 2, or was it trades 1 and 2?
Did I say issues? I meant trades.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, my bad. I may have been thinking about issues that Saturday as well and said issues. But, yeah, no, trades 1 and 2, which was great because it's like, oh man, I finished this trade, but I want more. Here's another whole book, which is pretty cool whenever you're getting caught up on a series. I love the characters.
She was only going to get one. She was only going to get volume 1, and then we were waiting in line, and they had it on a different shelf. It's like, oh, there's volume 2. Well, I might as well.
I love it. Best impulse buy. That was an excellent impulse buy.
Yeah.
If we were going to spend way too much money on Saturday, we spent way too much money well. Because these were great, and I love it because who the heck says that family books can't sell? It's like, make the characters interesting and unique. In the case of superhero comics, don't dress them all alike. Allow them to be individuals and show the characters with their flaws and make it quirky, like put a spin on it. Like, I about died laughing when she was like, and that's how my grandparents came to live with us. And I was just like, oh my god, that's so funny. And going to pick up the babysitter from an alien planet where she had been magically banished. And it was just like, wow, they've got a lot of stuff in here that's just so, it's like recognizable, but it's just so quirky and interesting, and I love it. And, God, Saga. And Lion Cat, of course, I can understand why it's being such a massive cult thing. Like, I haven't read Saga until recently. Obviously, I just said that, but I knew about Lion Cat. Everyone knows about Lion Cat. And she is a gift. She is hilarious.
So you need to catch up.
The end of that issue where... I do, I'm sorry. I know there's only one more trade.
You got to catch up on trade. Sorry, I'll let you, I just want to say, because this is definitely a comic to read issue by issue, because Brian K. Vaughan is a master of the opening and closing of the books. Like,
I know I've read his stuff before, I just don't remember what on.
Yeah, his opening pages and the cliffhangers he does are unmatched.
Especially,
and, obviously Fiona Staples brings it to life amazingly.
Her art is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I love it. Yes. And the characterization, that's why I've always said, it's like, they could just do like an entire 5-issue run of them sitting around eating cereal, and I would totally be there. Absolutely be there.
That's how you can tell a good book, in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, there was Saga, and I also picked up one of its creators was there. Let me pull up the article because I'm a bad fan, and I don't remember his name. But David A. Rodriguez was at Third Eye Comics last Saturday promoting his and Sarah Ellerton, the artist, their project Finding Gossamer, and they have the first trade in a beautiful hardback copy, as well as an issue that goes into the backstories of one of the side characters. It's called Finding Gossamer, and it is really, really good because, if you just look at the book offhand, it looks like, it's Gossamer spelled with a Y. It's like fancy fantasy script and a kid with a magical book and, a villain looming ominously in the background. And you're like, oh, okay, so it's like a swords and sorcery thing for kids and, whatever, same story that we've heard before on a few different things. But this is a really good book. Like, the art is really good, for one. It makes everybody, it's all digital, it makes everybody look slightly younger than they are, maybe because of the whole, wide-eyed, round-faced kind of style. But it's really great. It's about a 20-year-old student named Jenna Orman and her younger brother Denny, who has Asperger's, and the fact that she's kind of taking care of him, and she's about to enroll him in a school for gifted students that's basically a boarding school because she can't deal with, being a caretaker for him the way he needs it anymore. And it turns out that in taking the entrance exam, which is a supposedly unsolvable mathematical theorem, he solves it in a matter of moments, and it accidentally unlocks a door to this alternate world called Gossamer, where essentially math is magic and power, because it's basically, I forget how they describe it, but essentially a theorem, like if you can write out a theorem and prove it, then it's a spell that takes effect. And it's really interesting. And personally, I'm dyscalculic. I can't do anything more complicated than remedial algebra, and that I failed. So this would be a world where I would be completely useless. But the way it was written was really great and really universal, and I know a lot of people would really geek out about the fact that, here's this thing in our everyday life that, I mean, math is great. Math makes awesome things happen, and it's literally, I mean, in this world, it literally has that power. It can heal people and build massive ships out of the side of a rock canyon, and it's just, the art in this is crazy. Like I said, it's all digital, and the landscapes are beautiful. The special effects, whenever a spell is cast, the lighting's great, and the colors, I love the art. Like I said, Sarah Ellerton, and my wife actually, she thought it looked familiar, and it turns out she recognized her from having an account on DeviantArt that she followed years ago. So it just goes to show you, if you like something, keep up.
I thought we were going to bring up that stuff. I thought we were going to leave that in the past. I'm
not going to say what was on the DeviantArt account. I wasn't going to embarrass anybody. We all remember DeviantArt. And except for those of us who are still active on it, and we'll just not go there. But no, it was. It just goes to show that if you really like something and you work hard at it, your DeviantArt work could be a preface to having your own book someday. And as an older sister myself, who growing up was less than patient or understanding or sometimes nice to a younger brother with social anxiety issues, this book really hit close to home, and I honestly cried legitimate tears while I was reading this, and I couldn't put it down. And because these siblings are just so great, I love the struggle here. It's something that a lot of people can relate to in their lives, I think. And it was really hard for this kid, Denny, to be dragged into this universe when, from 8 to 9 is wind down time, and he gets to line up his ships and watch a DVD, and that's his arrangement, and that's what he wants to do, and he doesn't want to be a hero or do any of this stuff, and he can't really cope with it very easily, and it broke my heart. But I really loved the characters here. The way they were crafted was great. There's even kind of like I can't even, an appendices almost in the back where it tells a little more about the world building and everything, and kind of the construction of this universe and what they were trying to do, as well as character synopses and things like that. So it was a really good investment, and I would definitely recommend it. I know it's on Comixology, individual issues for $1.99, I think, but I would definitely, go for that.
So I got the free comic book day issue, and I got none of that from the little story that they had in there. I mean, it just seemed like a typical fantasy story. So I mean, what you described were interesting. What I read, not so much. So I might have to go back and.
I read the free issue after I read the book because I wanted to start from the beginning, and that was probably the best thing to do, because that's basically the background motivations of one of the side characters that kind of are helping them along on their journey. So it's kind of like how this guy got into adventuring and got his life started. And we don't have a whole lot of motivation to care about him right off the bat, except that he's kind of an adventuring, Inigo Montoya, Flynn Rider kind of character, and he's going to help them save the world, evidently, because they need someone who can swashbuckle. But yeah, definitely, I would definitely read the comic, because it's very, very good, like I said, and it'll put in context and probably make better the Free Comic Book Day issue.
Cool. Did you read the second half of that comic book? I actually really like that.
Oh yeah, no,
Past the
what
Lost
was it called?
Mountain?
Something about the mountain?
Yeah, Past the Lost
Yes,
Mountain.
that looks amazing. I'm definitely going to be pulling that.
Yeah,
Do you want
it
to
was
talk
really
about it,
fun.
or should I? Go
Sure.
for it.
I mean, well, basically, you're thrown in this world where it's a modern world, but then they have trolls and fairies and things, and this is basically the story of. It seems like these three creatures, young creatures, like a dragon, a troll, and a centaur-looking thing, and they engineered a distraction so that they could escape from whatever prison they were in. Because it seems like the humans kind of have just captured all these mystical creatures and keep them in cages or whatever. And so these three things set
So
off on their own.
It's like reverse Enterkind.
It reminds me a lot, actually, of the throwback
Yeah.
comic Arcanum, but it seems like it's going to be from the creature's point of view instead of the human point of view, which sounds really interesting.
It's refreshing.
Yeah, yeah, and it's like the art. The art reminds me kind of a little bit like the Bunker. It's not. It's very. It's like it's a little cartoony, and the coloring is kind of abstract, but it fits the world, and the scheme changes depending on the moods of the characters that are happening. It's really good. I liked it a lot. Well, what did you think, Sarah?
I think it's great. I really like the concept, and like you said, I think it's really cool that it seems like it's going to be from the mythical creature's point of view instead of the humans. Like maybe there will be a token human character. Who knows? It looked like they were starting to introduce something with the guy who was in charge of imprisoning these creatures. But I'm guessing they're going to be more the villains in this, and I feel like it gets you emotionally right away because. You've got one of the characters, the little troll, who his mom had to make a big sacrifice to get him out of there in the first place, and it's just kind of like, oh, my heart. So I'm already invested in this character, and I've just seen the sneak peek. So this is going to be good, I feel.
Yeah, I'll definitely be checking that out in issue form. So there's a couple other ones. They have The Future's End, number 0, which I actually thought was really good. This actually got me. I wasn't going to buy the number 1 at all, and this issue got me to buy it. This is the story of, like, basically tells you how Batman, Terry McGinnis, got to be where he is in the main Future's End story. And it looks like it's like the final downfall of the last heroes in the way far future. And so, Batman Beyond has to come back in time and fix it. And I thought it was a really good little self-contained action story. And then number 1 didn't live up to it. And it seems kind of weird, like, this is kind of an important issue to be a Free Comic Book Day issue, which seemed kind of odd. Did you read it, Sarah?
No, I didn't. Do you think maybe they're having a problem with sales, so they're desperately trying to get people invested by giving this out on a day where they know a lot of people are going to be coming through?
I don't know, because because there's a lot of characters in this that are not, you got Stormwatch in there, there's
Wait,
Beyond thing, so they're trying
they're
to get
still
some
pushing
some
Stormwatch?
character recognition to buy the series, because the series is kind of a hard sell, unless you're yeah.
Are you serious? Oh my
Yep.
God, that's extremely
there's not a
frustrating.
lot going
I
for
was
the
so glad
series,
when
I
this
don't
ended
think.
because
Yeah.
they just trashed all of the Authority characters that I loved and just fucking. Sorry. It seems like there's a little bit of a lag. Sorry, go on. No, not.
Yeah, that's fine. Good story. I don't know, whatever. There was the Guardians of the Galaxy Free Comic Book Day issue. This was not great. I mean, I'm sure it's fine for people who don't follow the series because it kind of gives you a primer on all the characters. So people coming in, for the movie, it's probably pretty good because it gives you it kind of reintroduces you to the character through Venom, who's joining the team, which is also kind of funny because he's joining the team, and this is how he joins the team, and it seems like a pretty significant piece of the plot to leave out of the main series. But yeah, it wasn't that great. And then Valiant had one that we got, and this was really just a bunch of previews, not anything really great. Basically a bunch of fight scenes and not any full stories. And then that was pretty much it because Third Eye, by the time we got there, they were out of a lot of stuff. So I actually went on Midtown Comics. They let you get all of the free comic book day issues on the following Monday. So I went and ordered the rest. So I got the Avatar one, Rocket Raccoon, the Mouse Guard hardcover. So looking forward to getting those. And then Comixology usually releases them sometime in the next couple weeks, so you can check out the rest of those. Any other comments for Free Comic Book Day?
No, but while we're on the topic of news, what do you call it? The Sci-Fi Channel releases development slate, and it is chock full of comic books that they're developing. They're not necessarily going to become series, but they're looking at Clone, Letter 44, Magicians, Pax Romana, and Ronin, the Frank Miller series from the 80s that was really awesome. It was basically Frank Miller's highlights were The Dark Knight Returns and Ronin. So in that order. So I'm looking forward to, but it's Sci-Fi Channel, so the game's Battlestar Galactica, but then they've also given us some other major crap lately. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic on those. I think Letter 44 could probably be a good TV show. Yeah. I'm not super familiar with the other ones though.
Yeah, Ronin too, especially because it's very kind of surrealistic and all, and being Sci-Fi Channel, they'll probably make the Japanese guy a white guy.
Gag me with a spoon.
So that's it. That's it for me for news.
Well, hopefully.
Yep.
All right. Well, it is getting pretty late.
Yep.
So I think we can wrap it up. And of course, I accidentally closed my thing. But anyways, the Communicast home on the web is #Communicast on Google+, cbcpodcast.tumblr.com, youtube.com/comicbookcommunicast. Find all our episodes there. Check out Issues, our other show that airs on Saturdays. And
hit the like
appreciate
button,
it. Shares.
Subscribe button.
Yeah, that too. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Comment on our posts on Google Plus or Tumblr. We love those. We respond to all of them. Let us know what you think. And yeah, I guess that's about it. Share us on social networks. Like us, whatever. Yeah, have a good night.
Don't like it, see if we care.
Yeah.
No, we'll still be here talking.
Yeah.
All right.
Night.
Have a good night, everybody. See you on Saturday, definitely next week.
Yep. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Night.